Hey everybody, this is an interactive video lesson about understanding the powers of 10. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to come over here and grab a pen. I'm going to go with red. All right, and just follow along with me for these problems. All right, so again, this video is about the powers of 10. And if you notice on this page, we're multiplying 10 by itself quite a few times, right? So for example, here we have 10 times 10 times 10. Well, another way to write that really is 10 to the third power. All right. So notice this 3 represents the number of 10s that we have. Right. It does not mean 10 times 3. That'd be 30, right? But 10 times 10 times 10 can be written as 10 to the third power. All right. Let's move over here. Here we have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Right. So this can be written as 10 to the fifth power, just like that. All right. Now, there's one thing I want you to notice here. Okay. Again, this has 5 10s, right? And look at the power. It's a 5. Okay. So 10 to the fifth power is the same as 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. All right. So the next two problems we're going to evaluate. And what that means, okay, is what does 10 squared really mean? Well, 10 squared really means 10 times 10, which is 100, right? So we're going to put 100 inside this box, all right? And 10 to the fourth power really means 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. Well, 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 is 1,000, times 10 is 10,000. So let's put a 10,000 inside this box. So if you notice, right, 10 to the fourth equals 10,000. And look how many zeros we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, right? And over here, we know that 10 to the second power equals 100. And again, look how many zeros we have. We have 2, right? So that's kind of a cheap little shortcut you can do. So here we have a million. And a million has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So we can write that as 10 to the sixth power. And over here we have 10 million, which has 7 zeros. Okay, so we can write that as 10 to the seventh power. All right, hop on over to the next slide. All right, and for this, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply a whole number, okay, by the power of 10. Okay, so here we have the number 5. Okay, I'm going to put a 5. All right, so here we have 5 times 10 to the fourth power. So we're multiplying 5, right, times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. So what you can do is you can write a 5 here. All right, I'm going to really make that 5.0, okay? And then you can move the decimal over 4 spots. So it's going to be 1, and then I'm going to add 3 more zeros. 1, 2, 3, and we end up with, and the decimal's at the end now, we end up with 50,000 as our answer. Okay. The next one we have 13. I'm gonna put a decimal at the end. Okay. And I'm gonna add 3 more zeros because we're multiplying it by 10 times 10 times 10. Right? So if I times it by 10 one time, we get 130. If I times it by another 10, we get 1,300. If I multiply it by another 10, we get 13,000. So that's our answer. Let's do the same type of thing, but now we're going to multiply a decimal by the power of 10. So here we have 4.32. And again, every single time I multiply by 10, I move that decimal 1 spot to the right. So here's the decimal, and I'm going to multiply it once and twice. So we end up with 432. Okay? And finally, we have 0.84. And we're multiplying it by 10 5 times. Again, that's where that 5 comes from, right? So I need to move this decimal over 5 spots. So that's going to be 1, 2. And then I'm going to add 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. And the decimal is now here. So don't worry about this 0 in the front or this decimal right here. So we end up with 84,000. All right, finally, let's talk about the opposite. We've been talking about multiplying by the powers of 10. Now we're going to talk about dividing by the powers of 10. All right. And what you do for this, instead of moving the decimals to the right, you now move it to the left because you're dividing. Okay. So here we have 450. Let's put decimal at the end. And this time we're going to move the decimal 2 spots to the left. So it's going to be 1 and 2. And we end up with 4.5. And finally we have 87.5. And we're dividing it by 10 to the third power. Okay? So we're going to move this decimal now 3 spots to the left. So it's going to be 1, 2. And notice I'm adding digits, so I'm going to add a 0. So we end up with the decimal 0.875. All right? So the big thing to remember, when you multiply by the power of 10, okay, you move the decimal to the right. And when you divide by the power of 10, you move the decimal to the left. All right, good luck with the rest of the problems, and have a great day.